Hi. At AMP, we do some hard things, but we don't think those things should be hard to understand. That's why we made this video. Let's imagine that this is one of your users. If we met this user in real life, we'd notice all kinds of interesting things that make him or her unique. Those interesting things would make us talk to this user in different ways than we would talk to other users. But we don't get to meet our users in real life. We meet them on our platform, along with all our other users. Because there are so many of them, it's hard to tell users apart, learn what makes them unique, or treat them as individuals. Segments are supposed to solve this. A segment is a box that should contain users who are all alike in some important way. But segments are clumsy. Once you put a user inside a box, it gets hard to see what's outside the box. Segments cover up too much important information. Think of it this way. Which is more useful to know? A user's hometown or their exact street address? Physical location is easy. All you need is a latitude and a longitude. But pinpointing behavior is way more complicated. A user's behavior can be located along many different dimensions. A dimension is anything you can measure about us, and you can measure a whole bunch of things. It's pretty easy to measure what users do in an app, but those measurements are only useful if we can figure out what they mean. That's where things get difficult. Say you want to learn what day of the week is best to send a message to your users. You can send different users the same message on different days and see how many users respond. But random differences in behavior can fool us. In this example, it seems like Saturday is better than Friday, right? Some users just tend to click more on messages in general. They're more clicky. Saturday wasn't better. We just assigned Saturday more often to more clicky users. AMP's solution to this problem is to extend all these raw behaviors with a map. We can use some math to create a few super informative dimensions that don't overlap as much. These new dimensions are easier to use than the raw measures. Now things start to get really interesting. We can group all these dimensions into what we call a user landscape. This is what it looks like with 1,000 users and 5 dimensions. The user landscape keeps us from being fooled. Now, if we want to test a Friday message against the Saturday message, we can cluster the user landscape in groups of 2. We assign each day to someone in the cluster. And then we repeat these clusters across the user landscape. This guarantees that different days get assigned to similar users and guarantees that different users get assigned the same day. Say we wanted to make things complicated and test several things at once. The user landscape makes complicated tests okay. In this case, we'd simply create clusters of 105 users each and assign one of each combination to each cluster. So, for the sake of your users, don't forget, a segment is just a box with a label. It doesn't give you any context. It doesn't allow for complicated tests. And it's not nearly as good looking as the user landscape. AMP. Talk to us. Your users will thank you.